Chapter 47. I prepare for Funkytown combat. The night before a big massacre, you might think I would toss and turn. Nope. I slept like a rock giant. Sif gave each of us a guest room in the upper levels of Bright Crack. I collapsed on my rowan wood bed, with its sheets of woven gold, and didn't stir until the next morning when I heard the alarm clock, a small gold Mjolnir trophy that wouldn't stop singing a divine chorus of "Ah, ah, ah," till I grabbed it off the nightstand and threw it against a wall. I have to admit, that was a satisfying way to wake up. I don't think Sam and Alex slept quite as well. When I met them in Sif's atrium, they both looked bleary-eyed. In Alex's lap was a plate of what used to be donuts. She had broken them into pieces to make a frowny face. Her fingers were caked in powdered sugar. Sam held a cup of coffee to her lips, as if she liked the smell but couldn't remember how to drink. The Skofnug sword was slung across her back. She looked up at me and asked, "Where?" At first, I didn't understand the question. Then I realized she was asking if I knew where we were going today. I fumbled through my pockets for the wedding invitation. The when space now read, "Today at 10 a.m. Are you excited?" The where space read, "Proceed to the Taco Bell on I-93 south of Manchester, New Hampshire. Await further instructions. No Asir, or the hammer gets it." I showed this to Alex and Sam. "Taco Bell?" Alex grumbled. "Those monsters." Something's not right. Sam took a sip of coffee. The cup trembled in her hands. "We're missing something important. And I don't mean the hammer." "Perhaps," said the voice of our hostess, "you're missing the appropriate clothes." Before us stood Sif, having appeared out of nowhere, as goddesses tend to do. She wore the same red-orange dress, the same green silver brooch, and the same pained smile that said, "I think you're my house servants, but I don't remember your names. My husband tells me you want to play dress-up." She gave Alex an up-and-down look. "I suppose it would be easier than putting Thor in a wedding dress, but we have a lot of work to do. Come on." She strolled toward the hallway in the back of the atrium, crooking a finger over her shoulder for Alex to follow. "If I'm not back in an hour," Alex said, "it means I've strangled Sif." Excuse me. "And I'm hiding the body." Her expression gave absolutely no indication she was kidding. She sashayed off, doing such a good imitation of Sif's walk that I would have given her a trophy. Sam rose, coffee cup in hand. Goodness! Excuse me. Coffee cup in hand, she walked to the nearest window. She stared across the rooftops of Asgard. Her eyes seemed to fix on the shield-thatched golden dome of Valhalla. Alex isn't ready. I joined her at the window. A wisp of dark hair had escaped the edge of her hijab by her left temple. I had a protective urge to tuck it back in. Since I valued my hand, I didn't. "Do you think she's right?" I asked. "Can she, resist your dad?" "She thinks she's right," Sam said. "She has some theory about claiming her own powers, not letting Loki possess her. She even volunteered to teach me. But I don't think she's ever tested herself against our father. Not really." I thought about my conversation with Alex in the woods of Jotunheim, how confidently she had talked about using the image of earnest snakes for herself, stepping out of her parents' poisonous shadow. It was a nice idea. Unfortunately, I'd seen how easily Loki could manipulate people. I'd seen what he'd done to my Uncle Randolph. "At least we won't be alone." I gazed at Valhalla in the distance. For the first time, I felt a twinge of homesickness for the place. I hoped Blitz and Hearth had gotten there safely. I imagined them with the gang from Floor 19 preparing their weapons and suiting up in wedding attire for a daring raid that would save our butts. As for Thor, I didn't have much faith in him, but with luck, he and a bunch of other Asir would be dug in around Bridal Veil Falls, dressed in camouflage with high-powered hand catapults or rocket spears or whatever other weapons god commandos were wielding these days. Sam shook her head. "Help or no?" Alex doesn't know what it was like in the Waits' tomb. She's not fully aware of what Loki is capable of, how easily he can just... She snapped her fingers. I wasn't sure what to say. "It's okay. You couldn't help it. Didn't seem useful." Sam sipped her coffee. I should be the one in the wedding dress. I'm a Valkyrie. I have powers Alex doesn't have. I have more experience fighting. You made a promise to Emir. You have lines you can't cross. That's not a weakness. It's one of your strengths. She studied my face, maybe judging how serious I was. Sometimes it doesn't feel like a strength. After what happened in that tomb in Provincetown, I said, knowing what Loki can do and not knowing whether you can resist him, you're still going right back in to fight him. You ask me, that's way above Valhalla level courage. She set down her cup on the windowsill. Thanks, Magnus. But today, if you have to choose, if Loki tries to use Alex and me as hostages, or Sam, no. Whatever he's planning, Magnus, you have to stop him. If we're incapacitated, you may be the only one who can. She shrugged off the Skofnug sword and handed it to me. Keep this. Don't let it out of your sight. Even in the morning light of Asgard, in the warmth of Sith's atrium, the sword leather sheath felt as cold as a freezer door. The Skofnug stone was now strapped to the pommel. When I slung the sword across my back, the stone dug against my shoulder blade. Sam, it won't come down to a choice. I'm not letting Loki kill my friends. I'm definitely not letting him near the sword, unless he wants to eat the blade. I'm fine with that. The corner of Sam's mouth twitched. I'm glad you'll be at my side for this, Magnus. I hope someday, when I have my actual wedding, you'll be there too. That was the nicest thing anyone had said to me in a while. Of course, given how messed up the last few days had been, maybe that wasn't a surprise. I will be there, I promised. And it won't just be for the awesome catering from Fadlan's Falafel. She swatted my shoulder, which I took as a compliment. Usually she avoided any kind of physical contact. I guess whacking a stupid friend occasionally was permissible. For a while we watched the sun rise over Asgard. We were a long way up, but as with time I'd seen Asgard from Valhalla, I spotted no one stirring in the streets. I wondered about all the dark windows and silent courtyards, the untended gardens left to grow wild. Which gods had lived in those mansions? Where had they all gone? Maybe they'd gotten tired of the lax security and moved to a gated community where the Guardian didn't spend all his time taking celestial selfies. I'm not sure how long we waited for Alex. Long enough for me to drink some coffee and eat a frowny face of broken donuts. Long enough for me to wonder why Alex was taking so long, hiding Sif's body. Finally, the goddess and the bride-to-be emerged from the hall. All the moisture evaporated from my mouth. Electricity jumped from pore to pore across my scalp. Alex's white silk gown glowed with gold embroidery from the tassels on her sleeves to the serpentine curls along the hem that swept her face. A necklace of golden arcs curved at the base of her neck like an inverted rainbow. Pinned to her black and green ringlets was a white veil, pushed back to show her face, her two-toned eyes lined with delicate mascara, her lips colored a warm shade of red. "Sister," Sam said, "you look amazing." I'm glad she said it. My tongue was curled up like a titanium sleeping bag. Alex scowled at me. "Magnus, could you please stop staring at me as if I'm going to murder you?" I wasn't, because if you don't, I will murder you. Right. It was difficult to look elsewhere, but I tried. Sif had a smug glint in her eyes. Judging from the reaction of our male test subject, I think my work here is done. Except for one thing. From around her waist, the goddess pulled a long strand of gold so thin and delicate I could hardly see it. On one end was a golden handle, the shape of an S. A garrote, I realized, like Alex's, except gold. Sif had fastened it around Alex's waist, buckling the S's together so they formed the Ernie snakes. "There," Sif said. "This weapon, fashioned from my own hair, has the same properties as your other garrote, except that it goes with your outfit, and it is not from Loki. May it serve you well, Alex Fierro." Alex looked like she'd been offered a trophy, entitling the bearer to pretty much everything. I don't know how to thank you, Sif." The goddess inclined her head. "Perhaps we can both try harder not to judge based on first impressions, eh?" Yeah, agreed. "And if you get a chance," Sif added, "strangling your father with a garrote made from my magical hair would seem quite appropriate." Alex curtsied. The goddess turned to Sam. "Now, my dear, Let us see what we can do for the maid of honor. After Sif had escorted Semra down the hall of magical makeovers, I turned to Alex, trying my best not to gawk. My tongue started to roll up again. What did you say to Sif? She seems to like you now. I can be very charming, Alex said. And don't worry, it'll be your turn soon. To be charming? That would be impossible. Alex wrinkled her nose in a very Sif-like way. But at least you could get cleaned up. I need my chaperone to look much spiffier. I'm not sure I managed spiffy. More like iffy. When Semra was still getting dressed, Sif came back and guided me to the gentleman's fitting room. Why the goddess even had a gentleman's fitting room, I wasn't sure. But I guessed Thor didn't spend a lot of time there. It was completely devoid of gym shorts and Metallica t-shirts. Sif outfitted me with a gold and white tuxedo, the inside lining made from chainmail, a la Blitzen. Jack hovered nearby, humming with excitement. He especially liked the woven gold Sif hair bow tie and frilly shirt. "Oh, yeah," he exclaimed. "All you need now is the right rune stone on this studly outfit." I'd never seen him so eager to turn into a silent pendant. The rune of Frey took its place just below my bow tie, nestled in the frills like a stone Easter egg. With the Skofnug sword strapped to my back, I looked like I was ready to boogie down while stabbing my closest relatives. Sadly, that was probably accurate. As soon as I got back to the atrium, Alex doubled over with laughter. There was something deeply humiliating about being laughed at by a girl in a wedding dress, especially a girl who was rocking that wedding dress. "My gods," she snorted, "you look like you're on your way to a Vegas wedding in 1987. "In your own words," I said. "Shut up." She walked over and straightened my tie. Her eyes danced with amusement. She smelled like wood smoke. Why did she smell like a campfire? She backed away and snorted again. "Yep, all better. Now we just need Sam." "Oh, wow." I followed her gaze. Semra had emerged from the hallway. She wore a green formal dress with black embroidery that was the mirror image of Alex's. Serpentine swirls with the sleeves all the way down to the hem. In place of her usual hijab, she wore a green silk hood with a bandit sort of veil across the bridge of her nose. Only her eyes were visible, and even those were deep in shadow. "You look great," I told her. "Also, I loved you in Assassin's Creed." "Ha, ha," Sam said. "I see you're ready for the prom. Alex, have you tried your veil yet?" With Sam's help, Alex drew the curtain of white gauze over her face. There was something ghostly about her in that veil, like she might start floating away at any moment. You could see that she had a face, but her features were completely obscured. If I didn't know better, I might have thought she was Sam. Only her hands gave her away. Alex's skin tone was a few shades lighter than Sam's. She fixed this by pulling on lace gloves. I really wish Blitzen were with us, because he would have loved all the fancy outfits. "My heroes." Sif stood next to one of her rowan trees. "It is time." The trunk in the tree split open, revealing a rift of purple light the exact color of a Taco Bell sign. "Where's the chariot?" Alex asked. "Waiting for you on the other side," Sif said. "Go forth, my friends, and kill many giants." "Friends," I noted, "not hired help." Maybe we'd really made an impression on the goddess. Or maybe she figured we were about to die, so a little kindness wouldn't hurt. Alex turned to me. "You first, Magnus. If there are any hostiles, your tux will blind them." Sam laughed. Mostly to get the embarrassment over with. I walked through the rowan tree into a different world.